into it, was it?
Yeah, it was my mum. She pushed me in the rugby league when I think I was about four-year-old. So, she used to watch the Broncos and love them, and she pushed me into football. And I played a few sports back then. I played hockey, rugby league, and cricket. So she made me choose one, and I chose rugby league. Lucky.
And obviously you came up through the ranks at St Brendan's School, was it?
Yeah, St Brendan's College. Yeah.
And then you forged your way into the first team, didn't you? And then shortly after, you were diagnosed with cancer. So high to a big low there. Talk me through how that happened and what your feelings were at the time.
Yeah, well, obviously it's worth the time. I went to St Brendan's, as you said, and I ended up playing in the first team when I was in grade 9, which is kind of a feat for grade 9 to play for the first back then, so the Opens team. And then basically as soon as I made it in grade 10, halfway through it, I got diagnosed with cancer. In grade 11, I got diagnosed with cancer with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So kind of, there was a few weeks there where I had a window where I could still play rugby league before I got my operations. I went in for chemotherapy. So, I didn't tell too many people about it. Only the coach knew. And, I played my last game. It was against St Patrick's Mackay, I think it was. You probably won't know about it over here. But, we played them. They were a good rugby league school. And, after the game, we kind of broke the news to all the players and stuff and said what I had. And, everyone was devastated. And I look back at it and I was really naive. It didn't really hit me to what I had, basically. So to play that last game of football was, a very emotional game, but it was very, very, a very high game for me, I should say. And I look back on it now and say, what a great game. And then from there on, I got 6 months of chemotherapy in Rockhampton, where I couldn't have no rugby league played, and I couldn't play any rugby league at all. I ended up coaching though. Coached the seconds Opens team there, so at St Brendan's I helped coach that and just stayed involved with all my mates and all the teachers back at school while I was going through chemotherapy.
So that game you mentioned there, that incredibly emotional game, that could feasibly have been your last game. How do you approach something like that, especially with none of your teammates knowing? That must have been incredibly difficult for yourself, not only on the level that you knew you were ill, but also on the level that, all this news was yet to come for your teammates, and I guess you were really good friends with quite a lot of them.
Yeah, it's a all-boys boarding school, so they're more family than friends. I still keep in contact with them to this day. I talk to them through Skype over here, so it was very emotional. But to tell you the truth, it never crossed my mind that it would be my last game. It never even occurred to me that it would be my last game. I just thought, I'm going to have this chemotherapy, get rid of my cancer, and go on to the next stage of my footballing career. But it was always a dream to play NRL for me, and luckily I achieved that dream, and now I'm playing Super League. So that game, while it was emotional, it never really occurred to me that it was going to be my last game.
So talk me through how you what the process was in terms of what made you think you had cancer, and then at what point did you decide to go to a doctor?
Well, I was going to say it's a funny story, but it really isn't that funny. But when I was 12, I was at my mate's house playing, I think it would have been the Sega Dreamcast back then, so I was playing the Sega Dreamcast, and I went and had a shower afterwards, and I was just in the shower and washing myself, and I come across a lump in my groin that was the size of my fist. So I'm going, it's not supposed to be there. I wasn't there yesterday. So I went to the doctor, I think the day after. I told Mum, and it was a bit of a touchy subject being near my groin and how big it was. But we went to the doctor when I was 12, and he passed it off. He said it's a blood clot, it'll pass, you don't worry about it. Didn't even do no tests on it or anything like that. So it went undetected for about 3 years, until I was about 15, 16, and then I went away to a touch carnival in Townsville in Queensland, and I started to get these little lumps in my shin, and I was a bit worried about them too, and I kind of told one of the teachers, and the teacher said, when we get back to Rockhampton, where I was born and where I was from, we'll get them checked out. And I went and got them checked out, and they turned out to be blood clots. But he said, "Do you have any lumps or anywhere else?" And I'm going, it's in my groin, and I'm a young teenage boy, so I don't want another bloke going around near that area. And he's kind of looked at it. He's had one look, and he's gone, whoa, it was massive, the size of my fist at the time. He's gone, "Mate, we're going to have to get that checked out." And within a day or two, I had it biopsied, and the test results come back, and it was, Hodgkin's lymphoma. And in a week's time, I was in hospital getting it removed. And then the next process was obviously the 6 months of chemotherapy.
I think your first question sort of summed up your mindset throughout having cancer. You asked the doctor, was it curable? That was your first question.
Yeah, well, obviously that was my first question. Mum was beside me, and she had her questions, but mine were, is it curable? And he said, basically, he put it down to me, because I was young. He said, if you're going to get a cancer, this is the cancer to get. It's very curable. So I think he said it was a 90% chance of being cured. So, I'm lucky I got that cancer, I suppose.
Would you say rugby was very much the driving force behind your recovery? Because I know that at one stage, you did consider, going a different route, perhaps taking up some sort of profession in a different line of work there.
Yeah, well, it's always was a driving force. That and my family, were the biggest things, to get me through it. The whole time that I was in hospital or getting chemotherapy, my mother was by my side, my grandmother was by my side, my aunties were. So, to see them suffering through what I actually had really hit home and kind of, I thought I said to myself, not only do I need to get, over this for myself, I need to get through for my family. And there was always, the driving force of rugby league behind it. I had friends that played NRL, family friends. I had Scott Minto, he played for the Broncos and North Queensland Cowboys, and he actually got Wayne Bennett's book for me, and he had Wayne Bennett wrote a quote in there that said, "Tough guys come and go, but tough times come and go, but tough guys last forever." And that's actually stuck with me to this day. I try and read that little insert before every game, and just kind of clicks mindset on, and just realise that there's people out there that are worse off than you, and that your perspective of life has really changed.
So then you come back into the game, and you decide to settle at Brisbane Broncos, I think it was.
Yeah.
What was that like, being back in the game full time and playing rugby league once again?
It was amazing. I had the choice of going to the Bulldogs, who were my team when I was a kid. So, and then I had the chance to go somewhere closer to home. So I ended up choosing closer to home than my favourite team, and it was actually a really big step for me to leave home after what I've been through, to go there. And my first day I got there, I lived in a house with a few other notable players, Neville Costigan, Sammy Thaiday, and a few other boys. And the first day I got there was a cricket game on in the backyard. Gordon Tallis was there, Shane Webke, and I remember sitting back in my room going, "What the hell am I doing here?" I'm out the back with some NRL players. So, it was a really big eye opener for me, and kind of, if I could change anything when I was at the Broncos, I would have liked to have put my head down a lot more and tried a little harder. But I probably enjoyed the life a little bit too much, going from the country to a city. So I'm glad I did that when I was younger and not when I was older anyway. Yeah, no, I'm loving it here. Honestly, things couldn't get better. There's a blue sky out there today. So there's been, I think, a week straight of that for me. So that doesn't happen over here, I heard. So no, I'm loving it, really am. And the lads at the club have made it so much easier for me to, get into, integrate within the team and be friends with them all. So they've been great about it. And Brownie, the coach, he's been really, really helpful. He's actually taught me a few things in the 2 months that I've been here already. So, he's a very knowledgeable coach. And, I think that, me being here, I'm going to be a better player, and hopefully I can better the team too.